Hello friends, welcome back for Link versus Bitcoin and Link versus US dollar technical analysis with me, your pal Rocky Outcrop. We do a daily technical analysis here on the channel for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink and Tezos. And just before we dive into the charts, I want to say thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Of course, I've got over 500 Rocky Outcropticians as part of the big family there at the minute, which is fantastic. It feels so good to have so many friends out there, so thank you to you. Thanks for sharing this with your friends and that as well, because a friend of yours is a friend of mine. And to celebrate that fact, I negotiated with Bybit to have a unique giveaway for this channel, which isn't on any of the other ones at the minute on YouTube. So if you're looking to join up to Bybit, then you can do that through this community as a reward for being part of it. So thank you so much. And you'll get the first 5 people who use my affiliate link get a $10 bonus, and it's just for free in their account. And then everybody who's over the next 2 weeks gets an additional $25 if they deposit 0.1 Bitcoin and an additional $50 if they deposit 0.2 Bitcoin into their accounts, which is great because you can see on the Bybit website that they've got their own rewards hub there where you can claim various other rewards, and it doesn't stop you from getting those ones either, so you get to claim them as well, and that's all good crack. So that's worthwhile taking a look at if you just want a new account and on a new exchange, where you can where they've got different options on there for people to use, which is quite cool compared to some other places and whatever. But anyway, I wasn't ever going to shill any particular exchange to people, unless there was some sort of reward for them off the back of it. And I respect all of you far too much for that, and so I negotiated a sort of unique deal for us. So that's that covered. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for sitting through that chat there. So what are we looking at over here? Well, we kind of discussed this idea before, but as well that we've got this sort of descending triangle type shape here, and we know as well when we look down the time frames it doesn't really work. It doesn't actually work, it doesn't really, not that great. But you've got the daily time frame, and there it is there right enough, and we're kind of wondering, does this give us any sort of chance of getting enough rocket fuel to break past these areas of resistance in order to give us a chance of going up and setting a higher high in on the daily? And maybe it does, maybe it does. We want to see the prices, of course, as we can see here with this was a wick to wick, whatever, anyway, this Fibonacci retracement. We want to obviously see the prices stay above 48,000 and all that sort of stuff. But it's Saturday today, we're staring Sunday in the face. Sunday is obviously the end of the week. What we want to see happening by the tomorrow night is we want to see the prices maintain themselves above sort of 50,500 in order to have a higher high on the weekly. Of course, not getting a higher high on the weekly doesn't mean that we're doomed, but this is just coming up towards the end of the week here, and we're right there, staring that sort of in the face, like it's coming up. So could we get a higher high on the weekly while setting in a lower high yet again, sure, on the daily, or just not, still coming up here, not quite done that higher high yet as part of this consolidation phase, and then in next week maybe go up and set the higher highs on the daily and have an overall bullish upward movement, even more so than what we've seen recently. We could. A little bit concerned in general looking towards these things. The 2-day, we really need to see it going up to that 53,000 to start getting excited about things again, and the weekly, well, we're fine on that front. And on the monthly, you can see as well, we're more or less continuing this upward trend here that we've had on the monthly time frame, even if we fall back down to that 48,000. So there's areas where you could sort of look towards this as slightly conflicting time frames, which means you can trade it either way. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, and that's financial advice as ever, as always, but and there could be options and opportunities in around these, for people to make different decisions. That would all be good. You could justify any of them. Overall, kind of want to see as well this sort of general, these lows be maintained. So I'd rather see this this overall kind of come to an end and resolve itself in the next sort of 48, 72 hours, 24 perhaps even, whatever, and then make a move up here. And I would like to see it coming up first port of call 52, 53,000, and then we can look again towards the 55,000, because again, it's this dynamic across the different different time frames. On the 12-hour here, you can see that we would need to get up to that sort of 54,600 to be higher high on the 12-hour, and really looking back again as well, there's the same sort of story here on the 4-hour, but you're even looking up to 54,000 4,800, 55,000 really in terms of their body closes there. So there's thinking to be done here, and you can kind of see the machinations, the spinning cogs, the thoughts, the rumination going on here as it considers its future, and it has an existentialist little think about things right now. No need to be dramatic. Just generally want to see this overall upward movement continue, and should we need to think about things overall in the meantime, then I want to see the prices stay above that 48,000 for a couple of different reasons. Let's just take a quick look at divergences, of which you can see there's bearish divergences been on the go here in the 4-hour time frame in terms of the highs, but this is consolidation phase that's happening just now really. If we don't actually ever make it back up above, oh, that was bearish divergent from before. Let me just verify my facts here, sorry, before stating anything. Yeah, so having got up here, we've gone higher than we have on the previous high in terms of RSI, but we've not set in a high yet. So this being higher, and we're not actually higher, we could be looking at a sort of touch of divergence on the go there. We want to see the prices actually come up here and justify having had this upward RSI movement. But we come down, retested this area of the bullish control zone. If we go up and were to go up towards the top end, then all of that would be resolved. So we can see it kind of work itself out, and it's a similar sort of story across the other oscillators. Look, they're slightly divergent in a sense potentially between these last two, but we're consolidating now off the back of that, anyway. So things are kind of going along. The warning sign told us we could be consolidating before trying new highs, or indeed, we can always reassess this should we come in and set a lower high in overall and think, if we think about lower lows back down there at the 33,000 area, we can be mentally prepared for those things. Whatever, let's just kind of move on to the dollar price and say yay, because this continues to go up the way. That's really fantastic. We've gone up to this golden pocket area, and if you were looking just purely taking longs on the link prices back down below and using Fibonacci sort of numbers or whatever, then maybe you've taken all your profit in around this area, and that kind of makes sense in a way, looking back over to the left and seeing where the previous body closes were. You could be doing that at the minute, and that would be reasonable, seeing the diminishing volume and whatnot and whatever else, all that there. But we're doing well here. Bear in mind this was a higher low in general. This is our previous high here on the ChainLink prices, so we could kind of hopefully anticipate to at least come up and challenge around those areas at the $4.70, which 90 cents up from where we are. Huge move still to be had, but let's not get too carried away. We've not really had a higher low coming in here. We've got the 21 EMA crossing over the 50, simple at the minute, kind of in and around this area where we have horizontal support, 50% retrace lines, things like that. Could we see things get retested down as far as that? We could. I wouldn't turn necessarily bearish before then. Our previous lows could be debated as being in there at 345. I'm not massively confident about that. Ideal results would be us staying above 370 in general in order for us to continue this overall upward trend. If we need to take a breather, going down to 360 or so we can come in around these areas or whatever. But it would be hard to get too bearish on that on the bigger time frame, until such times as it really looked like we're dropping down below this line over here at the $3.30 area. So things are looking good, bullish overall, I suppose, and aiming towards these highs. Want to see that happen without much any more this bearish divergence coming in here, because that's we're going to have to see the sort of momentum pick up a little bit as we come in here, or else on the way up there, anywhere up there, we could set in bearish divergence. So we don't want to see that happen. What we want to see is $4.46 on the daily time frame, hopefully in the next sort of few weeks or whatever. But looking quite good. This chart here is not doing me any favors really. Looking quite good. Just as the warning signs are there for potential. I want to say the warning signs are there for potential divergence, but this high and this high, is sort of its bearishly divergence. There's just not that much price action historically on this chart here for this one. And looking at this high over here to this high here, they were divergent, and there is this general feeling of having bearish divergence on this, but I feel like it could all break out the way overall anyway. There's as we've spoken about, there is this bearish divergence with this sort of rising wedge thing. We could Yeah, this is what we were talking about yesterday, you know. Going back down to something where it actually fits in here. We have this overall sort of rising wedge type face on this. Could we see us coming in and retesting for in terms of getting this movement here, having a highs and higher lows coming in? Could we see that happen in and around this area for a higher low at $3.16? You know, I wouldn't panic too much if it did happen. Could happen. That might be an opportunity for a long and around there. Are you unwise to be taking profits at any given area? Had you longed it previously? Not necessarily. There's things looking here like which could say to you, you know, profit taking isn't necessarily a bad idea. But of course, you know, the next target for us on the upside for a turnaround just based on just certain levels and that price action and this Fibonacci here is in around that $4.08 or 10 or 12 cents area. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not financial advice, but you could look towards that if you wanted to, and maybe that would all form part of this general sort of formation here before having a little turnaround, which could come in for a higher low and around this area thereafter. I don't know, that's my feeling on it just looking at it just now. Anyway, like, subscribe, all that stuff, really appreciate it. If you want to get a bonus like I was saying in all the other videos, and I think at the start of this one too, then you can do that. Check out the start of well, no, just check out the description. I think the links will be there. Join the Discord as well. All that stuff. I think I'm starting that up. I don't know how if I'll keep it or use it or not, whatever. I certainly don't want to set up some sort of signals group. It just depends on whether or not it's useful for everybody in the community to talk to each other and kind of have similar sorts of ideas. When we do it, I would kind of appreciate it if people didn't go too mad talking about Elliott Wave in there. Right, all the best. Thanks very much, and let's just take a look at the next coin. Catch you later.